Exterminate. Ladies and wait, I don't have my microphone. I'm already unprepared. I don't have my microphone. Jesus, like I'm lost in space. But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 38 of Dr. Brat Said That. Yes, today's theme is Doctor Who. I am a huge wrestling nerd. I am a huge sports nerd. And I'm also quite a big, huge Doctor Who fan. So, every week we have themes. And this theme is Doctor Who. We're not going to talk about Doctor Who the whole show. Because, quite frankly, I don't know too much about it to talk for an hour. But that is the theme. Welcome in, everybody. I am your host, Brat Jackson, with co-producer Chad LGBT. I got my microphone. I'm looking kind of handsome. I'm not going to lie. The mustache is on point. And yes, we are taking a trip to Gallifrey, which is where the doctor's from. Alonzi, we're going to get started. I got the Coke Zero. Doctor said it's okay, so I'm going to drink it. And plus, now that I actually make money, I can afford stuff for myself. But guys, girls, ladies, and gentlemen, let's talk about it, because a lot's happened in the last few days. We were on, let's see, what was it, Wednesday? Now it's Saturday. Gotta go to work later, but I'm okay, because I like going to my job. But we do need to talk about it, because just in 1 week time, Elimination Chamber 2026, and we have some more qualifiers, some surprising cauliflowers, some surprising There's been surprises lately. Listen, last week or last show, I said there was 2 surprises. The mystery box, the mystery man, but then I saw something. Adam Pearce has been on the phone with the mystery person. So there's not 1, not 2, but 3 mysteries going on Raw by itself. Why are we doing so many mysteries? Okay, where's Scooby and the gang? Well, that might be a nice little theme one day. But anyway, Elimination Chamber next week. Orton, Knight, Cody Rhodes, Javon Evans, Trick Williams, and one more name are gonna fight to face off in the Elimination Chamber. WrestleMania 42 title shot on stake. Then we got Tiffany Stratton, Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and surprisingly, Kiana James, and one more woman to face off WrestleMania 42 Elimination Chamber. Becky Lynch, AJ Lee. That has been a little lackluster, you know. I love both women. Don't get me wrong. Becky Lynch is the best. I say it. You say it. Sports Illustrated says it. And CM Punk versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. I was surprised. We're gonna go over SmackDown. We're gonna talk about SmackDown because a lot of the pieces of the puzzle of WrestleMania are, we just gotta start putting them together. I like puzzles. Puzzles are cool. But, yeah, we'll go over SmackDown last night. I watched it. I liked it. SmackDown happens Fridays. Used to happen on Thursdays. But not anymore. A little bit of just results here. We can go over it. Listen, they're going to do something. They've had Jacob Fatu. They've had Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, and Sami Zayn's on the outside. Fatal 4-way, WrestleMania. Have Cody win the Elimination Chamber. Then you can do something to get Sami and Jacob in that match. I think that's what's going to happen. Jacob Fatu made it clear his issue right now isn't with Rhodes, it's with McIntyre. Yeah. Ilya Dragunov. So this is, they've had Ilya Dragunov, Shinsuke, Matt Cardona, Apollo Crews, and others fighting over MFT. Right? By the way, I figured out what MFT stands for. Well, I didn't figure it out. They said it. I didn't know what it stood for. MFT, My Family Tree. Makes sense. Cool name. But yeah, Ilya Dragunov too. They've had these little feuds going on, so I don't know if it's going to lead to maybe a next week 5-on-5 match, because they don't do pay-per-view matches. They lead up to matches on pay-per-views or PLEs, and they don't do it on the pay-per-view. Because Triple H is like, hey, 3 to 4 matches on a pay-per-view is enough. Come on now, stop it. Stop it, Triple H. Jade Cargill came out. Jade's like, she's sick. She's tired of waiting. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I think they're turning a heel. I think they're going to get behind that. She isn't the best wrestler out there right now. She's champ. She looks great. Still needs a lot of work, but the winner's going to face either her or the winner of the Elimination Chamber is either going to face her or Stephanie Vesker. I think Stephanie is going to face off against Alexa Bliss and maybe Raquel Rodriguez. And whoever wins the Elimination Chamber is going to face off against Jade Cargill. They were saying Charlotte versus Jade. But Kiana James last night defeated both Charlotte and Nia Jax. That was a surprise. But yeah, what a win for Kiana James. Then you got Oba Femi, Kit Wilson. Kit Wilson's still over. Toxic masculinity. Oba Femi. He is built like a Dalek. He is. You like that? You like how I put wrestling and slow connection? Stop with the slow connection. I have a great connection. I hate this internet. But I am live. I see myself on the internet. But Oba Femi, you know, what are you going to do? Are you going to do him versus Lesnar at WrestleMania? You know, you should keep promoting this guy. Don't just have him on SmackDown Raw. Have him do Elimination Chamber. Not in the Elimination Chamber. You know, they have these pay-per-view matches or names, you know, Hell in a Cell and a Hell in a Cell. Elimination Chamber, Elimination Chamber. Money in the Bank, and Money in the Bank. You know. Tiffany Stratton defeated Alba Fire with Chelsea Green. And then I said Cody and Sammy, you know, and that's why you haven't become WWE champion. Cody Rhodes. I think Sammy should do it, but they're probably going to hold it off until Saudi Arabia WrestleMania next year in 2027. And then Trick Williams defeated Damian Priest and Carmelo Hayes to qualify for the men's Elimination Chamber match. Whoop that Trick. Awesome. Let's see. A bunch of tag teams are trying to figure out what's in the crate, but it's eventually real that Johnny Gargano is laying on top of it. Candice LeRae blames Nick Aldis. Jordan Grace interrupts to talk to Aldis, which leads to a match between her and LeRae at SmackDown next week. Hey, Jordan Grace, Candice LeRae, sign me up. That sounds great. And then Rhea Ripley defeated WWE United States Champion Julia in a non-title match via disqualification. They're probably going to do a multi-woman tag match at WrestleMania. Probably the Bellas and the champs, Io Sky and Rhea. Maybe Kiana James and Julia. Nia Jax, Last Legend. You know, it's 2 nights now. It's been 2 nights since 2020. So that's 6 years of WrestleManias. That's 2 nights. You can put everybody gets a spot. You get a spot. You get a spot. You get a spot. Like Oprah when it comes to wrestling. Alexa Bliss and Charlotte are backstage. You know, maybe they'll face off at WrestleMania. And then main event, Aleister Black defeated Randy Orton. What does that do for either Aleister Black or Orton? It'd be cool, you know. I like both of them, but I don't know. And there you go. That was SmackDown. It was good. It happened, but you know, we got 1 week left till Elimination Chamber. I'm off, and I figured I'm gonna make an announcement. Breaking news: we are gonna go live. Yes, during the men's Elimination Chamber match. We're not gonna do a watch along for the whole entire show, but when the men's Elimination Chamber happens, we're gonna come on. We're gonna go live. We got the Coke Zero. I got some yogurt. We actually got, well, I don't want to talk about it because it's not theme related, but I got popcorn. So, we're going to have fun. And then, depending how expensive these WrestleMania tickets are, I might have a watch along WrestleMania. Maybe the main event, but, you know. One big thing we haven't talked about yet on this show is the Vince McMahon situation. Now, I know it's very messy. Janel Grant. Vince McMahon. We can go a little bit into it. I don't have time today to talk about everything, but it has resurfaced up in the news because, she's made a statement the other day. Go watch it. I didn't get to watch it. And then Vince McMahon, his body cam for his car crash was released. I watched that. It was kind of crazy because Vince was more pissed at himself for driving like that, and man, being a famous billionaire gets you, yeah. The guy's like, I know who you are. You're just going to get a citation. It's like, the dude is driving 105 miles an hour. But, hey, I don't know. It pays to have money, they say. But, oh man, I'm on Vince's Wikipedia. Alright, so I'm going to read what this situation is. Okay? So, excuse me. In January 2024, a lawsuit was filed by Janel Grant, a former employee at WWE Global Headquarters between 2019 and 2022. Grant alleges that McMahon had coursed her into a sexual relationship, and along with WWE executive John Laurinaitis and a WWE wrestler who was also a former UFC fighter, sexually trafficked her and repeatedly sexually assaulted her during 2020-2021. Grant alleged that she was subject to extreme cruelty and degradation. That is a word I never heard. And I go like this because it was in quotes. By McMahon, including being defecated, which is poop, during a sexual encounter. Grant stated that McMahon had agreed to pay her $3 million in 2022 in a return for an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, but stopped paying after only $1 million had been paid following the initial public emergence of the sexual misconduct this is why I don't read. Allegations the same year. One day after the report of the claims on January 26th, Deadline confirmed that McMahon had resigned from TKO. In a statement, McMahon denied the allegations and said the decision was made out of respect for the WWE Universe, TKO shareholders, and business partners. On May 30th, Grant agreed to stay her case against McMahon for 6 months at the request of the Department of Justice, which is launching an investigation into McMahon's allegations. That's some heavy stuff. And there's a lot more, but it's kind of messy. That's why Vince McMahon went away. That's why it has nothing to do with anything. I don't know her statement. I can get a little recap of the statement. But it's been messy. It's been messy. A lot of people on the internet are saying that McMahon's a victim. A lot of people on the internet saying Janel Grant's a victim. It's just a very, very, I don't like talking about that stuff on the show, but Vince McMahon is the reason why I have a show, because he's the reason why wrestling is here. So, let's see. Janel Grant is a former employee. John Laurinaitis. He alleges McMahon. Denied. Case is ongoing. Let's see. Alleged WWE leadership was aware or involved. I heard Brock Lesnar was into this, but this is a show. Let's see. I'm not judging. There are serious allegations in a federal lawsuit involving former WWE employee Janel Grant and Vince McMahon. These are allegations. Nothing has been proven in court, but they're extremely serious and have already changed the landscape of professional wrestling. So, this is what Brat-style commentary without getting sued. I don't like getting sued. If even 10% of the allegations are true, that's disturbing. If they're not true, that's devastating for someone's reputation. That's why the courts exist. But either way, this isn't just tabloid drama. This is business altering. Wrestling has always been wild inside the ring, but when the headlines get darker than some storylines, that's when the business has to look into the mirror. So, yeah. I'll keep it in this situation because it is about the most famous person in wrestling history, really. But, I'm not going to have any takes on it. I don't like that stuff, but anyway. But, one thing I do like, definitely around this time, less than 2 months away from WrestleMania, Hall of Famers. Who is going to be in the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2026? Now, Stephanie was announced nepotism. I love Stephanie McMahon. While everybody was having crushes on Lita and Trish Stratus and Stacey Keebler and Tori Wilson, I was like, give me the billion dollar princess. That was my girl. I had a poster on my wall. So, Stephanie is the first one to be announced. I asked my co-producer, Chad Levin-Chi. John Cena, I can see it. If you're going to retire in January or December. Why not be in the Hall of Fame this year? Demolition Axe and Smash. I always thought they were in the Hall of Fame already. Mickey James, Tommy Dreamer, Bray Wyatt. He's definitely going to belong in the Hall of Fame. Ken Shamrock, Santino Marella, Johnny Knoxville, and others. I can actually see that as a really good class of the Hall of Fame. And that's a really good class. Johnny Knoxville as celebrity. You don't have to do too much to be in the Hall of Fame as a celebrity. Santino Marella is definitely somebody who deserves a Hall of Fame. He might not have the Hall of Fame matches or his character. Just his overall Santino-ness. And he's still doing it too. Ken Shamrock too. You know, who can forget 97 as a special enforcer for Hart vs. Austin WrestleMania submission match. His Intercontinental Championship. Matches with The Rock. Bray Wyatt, rest in peace. One of the best. Tommy Dreamer, ECW Legends. Mickey James, you know. This is a really good class. Like, I would really like that to be a class. But we'll see. Possibly John Cena. He deserves... Well, of course he deserves it. You know, they should have a whole wing named after him. But, the Hall of Fame... we'll talk about it when the more names are being announced. Stephanie McMahon being the number one announced is just, I wonder who's, it's always like, oh, Triple H married the boss's daughter. Now it's like the boss's daughter is married to the guy who runs the show. By the way, there's no doggies today. They're at their cousin's house. Rolly, he knows once you get that vest on him, it's time for cousins. And he jumps up and down. He is a good boy. But not speaking about good boys now. UFC Ultimate Fight Night, if they still call it. Strickland versus Hernandez is tonight. Sean Strickland has been talking a lot. Actually the other day, aka yesterday, I saw somebody at work wearing an Extreme Couture shirt, and we talked about Sean Strickland's fight coming up. Man. Sean Strickland, number 3 middleweight, former UFC middleweight champion, 29-7, last loss in February of last year to DDP for the UFC middleweight championship. Done a lot of talking, a lot of hate speech, which, we talked about last show, and I figured, hey, if I was to say that at my job, I would be in so much trouble, I would be fired. There's freedom of speech. We're not going to get into it this time. But there's not consequences for freedom of the speech. There's no freedom of hate speech. And what he did, what he said about really pretty much everybody, it was just hateful. It was just hateful. Anthony Hernandez, number 4 middleweight, 15-2. 8-fight win streak. Now, biased aside, I would have said Anthony Hernandez wins this fight, and I am going to pick him, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, to extend it to 9-fight win streak. Shane Strickland, I keep calling him Shane. Sean Strickland, kind of shitty. So, go Anthony Hernandez. We'll talk about who wins in the next show, but yeah, pretty crazy for the president of the UFC to be like, well, if you don't like Sean Strickland, don't ask him the questions. I think they asked Sean Strickland, how are you feeling about this fight? And then he told everybody that Bad Money was the F word, and not the good F word, the one that rhymes with. Not gonna say it. Anyways. Somebody who I'm really like, what are they doing now? Okay, I just looked at this, and it kind of got me tickled in the pickle, not in the good way. There's UFC champions. Nobody's defended their titles. Like, I know the titles have been flip-floppy, but Aspinall, no title defenses. Pereira, no title defenses. I know he just won in October last year. Kazmat Chimaev, no title defenses. Islam, no title defenses. Ilya, no titles. Gaethje, no titles, even though he just won it last month. Volkanovski won title defense against the dude he already beat. Peter Yan and Joshua Van, even though they just won in December, no title defenses. Kayla Harrison, no title defenses. She won in June. Excuse me. Mackenzie Dern, no title defenses. She won in October. Valentina, 2 title defenses. So it's kind of insane to see the lack of title defenses. And honestly, Aspinall's not fighting anytime soon. We don't know what's going on with Pereira. You know, middleweight, Chimaev doesn't have an opponent. Welterweight, Islam doesn't have an opponent. Lightweight, Gaethje just won against Patty, and Ilya is unknown. Featherweight, we just had Volkanovski versus Lopez in February, literally just a couple weeks ago. Peter Yan, no title defense coming up. Joshua Van, I think he's got a title defense coming up against Tatsuya Taria in April. So, and then Harrison's out with the injury. Shevchenko just defended it against Wei Li in November. And Mackenzie, I don't think she's got a fight coming up. Like, what are we doing? We have thousands, 8, 9, 10, 15 championships. None of them. Oh, the BMF championship. We got that coming up. Oh, watch out, the BMF title. Fucking stupid. But respect to everybody, BMF, you know. BMF here is called the brattiest motherfucker. So that's my title I don't defend. But yeah, Holloway versus Oliveira. That's coming up. Right, Oliveira? Right. Man, Max Holloway is such a good fighter. I'm just scrolling through his Wikipedia. Yeah, that's coming up in March. We'll talk about that. I'm excited for that. But, you know, then there's rumors that like Chimaev is going to vacate the middleweight championship, go up for the light heavyweight championship fight, which I don't know how. Excuse me. Rumors point to undefeated middleweight champion Chimaev vacating his belt to challenge Yuri Prochazka for the light heavyweight championship, potentially headlining 327 in April. The buzz follows reports that Pereira vacated the 205 strap to go to heavyweight. Fans are divided with excitement for scrap. What are we doing? This is why Anderson Silva and GSP and even BJ Penn are some of the greatest of all times, because they were staying in their division. They defended their titles over and over and over and over and over and over again. And that's why, if you ask who's the best middleweight of all time, Anderson Silva. Who's the best welterweight of all time? People say GSP, Matt Hughes, because they defended their title over and over and over again. You know? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? I'm ranting. I need to calm down. I need an emotional support Coke Zero. Oh, my God. I would drink it out of my Doctor Who mug, but I currently have coins and paper clips and remember these? Remember when we used to have tickets? Remember physical tickets? Now everything's on a phone. I can't hang up my phone on the wall. You know? But I digress. Hope everybody's going to have a great weekend. Anyway, somebody I want to talk about. I actually watched this fight. Gable Steveson once again won 3-0 in MMA. Very sloppy fight. His opponent was throwing like wheel kicks and went for a takedown. Why would you go for a takedown on an Olympic gold medalist? But, you know, Gable Steveson still needs a lot of work in the MMA game. TKO in the first round, can't take that away from him. But it was, you know, it was a silly fight. 3 minutes and 50 seconds in the first round. I saw that Gabe was going for those Olympic submissions, you know, arm triangles, stuff like that. Got the mount raining down, ground and pound. So, you know, just get his submission work up there. And his wrestling is A++++. But, you know, if he's going to fight like this, if they're going to do the White House card, which they look like they do, hey, you know, whatever. But Gable Stevenson's 3-0 in the MMA, so we'll see him in the UFC. 100%. 100%. A fight I want to talk about, too. We don't talk about boxing much. This is not a boxing show. But Ryan Garcia is a controversial kind of figure out there in the sport of boxing. He's fighting Mario Barroso. Barios. Tonight at the T-Mobile Arena, just down the street. Major WBC welterweight title fight streaming on DAZN. Barrios defends the belt against Garcia in a fight many see as a pivotal for both careers. Ryan Garcia, I know a lot of people don't like the guy. I don't know too much about him. He seems like, this kind of millennial, kind of like King Ryan, cocky. 24-2-1 last loss in Times Square, New York City. He fought in Times Square. That's crazy. By the way, as a Long Islander, the city never really cared. I never cared for going to the city. Oh, we're going to the city. Take the train. I don't care. We stay on Long Island. There's no beaches in the city. Hey, he's 22-4. I remember him versus Gervonta Davis. That was one I watched, but we'll see what happens. His opponent. We got to put respect on his opponent if he's a champion. Mario Barrios. These kids, 30 years old. Let's see, he is 29-2-2. Last fought Manny Pacquiao to a decision. So, yeah, we'll talk about that. I'm not going to talk about boxing much. But if there's a fight I'm kind of intrigued to see, we're going to talk about it because it's my show and I can do what I want. 39 episodes, baby. 25 subscribers on YouTube. Let's get those numbers up. Speaking about somebody, too. Somebody we know and definitely don't love. Not my say. Pretty much going to be the next mayor of this city one day. Floyd Mayweather Jr. is coming out of retirement I don't know if... I heard Mike Tyson. What are we doing here? Floyd Mayweather, as we know... I wish I had the show during Pacquiao Mayweather. That fight was not exciting, but it was the talk of the town. On February 20th, 2026, that was yesterday, Mayweather announced his return to the ring as a professional boxer for the first time since 2017. Mayweather will plan his return following his exhibition fight against Tyson in April 2026. Okay, so he's going to fight Tyson, make it fun, and then he's going to go back. He last fought against Conor McGregor in 2017, 50-0. So what is Floyd? Floyd is 48. It's still, he beat the Big Show at WrestleMania, so I can't say anything bad about that. WrestleMania 24. Yeah, the guy's like king of boxing. It's insane. King of Las Vegas, too. So, but yeah, there's a little boxing segment of the show. Floyd Mayweather's coming back. One person, though, we're going to move on. We're going to transition. Travis Kelce. Is he going to come back to the Chiefs? Now, let's be honest. Dude's got to be pretty set for life once he marries Tay-Tay. So, does he gonna come back and with the Chiefs? It's either part of the Chiefs or not. He's like my age, 36. So, we'll see what happens. Been to the Kansas City Chiefs for going to be 13 years coming up. 3-time Super Bowl champion. What more does he have to prove? No decisions have been made yet, but the end can be near for Travis Kelce, that's for sure. But the beginning for some, especially Fernando Mendoza, it begins on Monday. The 2026 NFL Combine kicks off in Indianapolis with top prospects running drills and meeting teams ahead of the NFL Draft. Big week for the NFL. We got to see. Some people might lose, their draft prospect if they have a bad combine. Like in NFL Madden, you do bad at the combine, you don't get drafted first. I think that's why Tom Brady was drafted 199th. Because he did really bad at the combine. Because why is the greatest player of all time, the greatest quarterback of my generation, 199th, 7 QBs picked before him, because he had a bad combine. you know? But anyway, speaking about starting, spring season is here. Spring training has happened. Spring training has happened. It is here. Baseball is underway. Last night, right now we got games going on, but last night the White Sox put a pounding on the Cubs, 8-1. Austin Hayes, that's just a name I'm looking at right now. That's a name. Some of this guy, he was the one that I want to talk about. We talked about him. We talked about him in December. Munataka Murakami. He's a White Sox. He went 4 at-bats, 0 runs, 2 hits, with 2 RBIs. We're going to keep a really close eye on, obviously, baseball. Definitely the White Sox. Anytime you beat the Cubs is bonito. Yankees lost 2-0 to the Orioles. I can't wait. The Yankees are winning 11-3 right now against the Tigers, but I can't wait. Baseball season is here. I'm like a giddy kid with baseball season. My boobies too close. I can't wait. I really can't wait till baseball's here. I want to go to a game, but like, there's no games in Vegas yet. Give us a couple years, but you know, we'll see. When we started the show, it was right at the very end of baseball season, and the playoffs was fun. But spring training is here. Opening day, we're gonna have, you know, the Brat Said That is already booked for a MLB draft, CBS Sports. So we're gonna have a draft. I'll tell you my draft prospects, who I drafted, how we're doing. Wow, Brownsville, Texas is really close to Mexico. That's the kind of commentary you get on my show. But yeah. But speaking about back, the NBA is back. The second half has started. Or maybe it didn't start already. It should have started yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Mavericks, you know, we're talking about, you know, I'm going to talk about all the teams, but I want to talk about my teams. Mavericks, good season. We'll figure it out. But you know, wow. Nuggets defeated the Trailblazers 157-103. That is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. We'll talk about that. I can't wait. NBA playoffs, hockey playoffs. You know, they're coming up in a few months. This show is, let's see, we started in September, 39 episodes in, about twice a week. We took a little Christmas break. So, you know, I can't wait. Excuse me. Every show is a theme. We talked about the standings last show. You know, Pistons on top, Thunder on top. You know, we can see like Pistons versus Spurs. Cavaliers are doing good. You know, we're definitely gonna, Pacers aren't gonna be in the NBA Finals this year. You know, Thunders definitely might. You know, they got a really good chance. But, you know, if the Lakers win another one, LeBron is going to retire. I can tell you that. We can see, hey, imagine Lakers versus Cavaliers. NBA Finals. The team LeBron started with went back in 2016. Won a title there. Left. Again. Went to the Lakers. That would be LeBron's last game, last series. Come on. Hall of Fame career. Greatest of all time. Now, I was thinking about this. Why is it that we can't just admit LeBron James is the greatest of all time? Is it because we're so, historical about Michael Jordan? You know? Like, oh, he can't be the greatest of all time. This is Michael Jordan. Dude, there's going to be players that are going to surpass everything Shohei Ohtani is doing. There's going to be players that are going to surpass everything Wade Gretzky has done. It's going to happen. Like Tupac and Biggie, two of the greatest rappers of all time. There's going to be rappers that are going to surpass them. But we need to stop hanging up on, the past. Let's move on. you know? But anyway, I digress. I do want to give a shout out to Team USA Women's Hockey because they are the gold medalists of the Olympics. I really just said that and that, you know, what the U.S. Olympic Women's Ice Hockey Team relishes. Wow. Congrats to them for winning the gold, bringing the gold back to the best country in the world. You know, Team USA beat Slovakia in men's ice hockey semifinal. I think we're facing Canada coming up in the finals of that. Moving on to the men's gold medal game for the first time since 2010. Wow, I'm just really excited for this. So I looked at something, and it broke down like what hockey players on what teams, and we're a little bit too deep into the Olympics to kind of talk about it. But if you're a favorite player, like my favorite player, Sidney Crosby, he's like, what the hell was that? Oh wow, that was weird. I googled the Olympics, and a little Greyhound came through my screen. That was weird. But Norway, 18 gold medals, 11 silver, 11 bronze, with 40 medals total. The United States, 11 gold, 12 bronze, 11 gold, 12 silver, 8 bronze, 31 total. And the Netherlands, 10 gold, 7 silver, and 3 bronze. Now, how do you have... Now, tell me... wait a second. That doesn't make any sense. How is Netherlands... Okay, Netherlands has 10 gold medals, 7 silver, and 3 bronze. Italy has 10 golds, 6 silvers, and 14 bronze, and they're in 4th place, but they have 30 medals overall. Now, I don't do very good at math. I know it's half of my name, but I don't get it. Anyway. So, the hockey is doing hockey things. USA versus Canada in a few years. I wish I had this more prepared. But, good for Team USA. I'm excited. What was that? Oh. We're doing that today. We're taking a trip in the TARDIS. Oh, let me answer, because I get cranky when I answer. Hello there? Oh, we're still doing this gimmick. Really? Do people like it? They do? Oh, you're so cute. Yeah, I do forget. I gotta go to work later, but it's okay. Yeah? Okay. Really? We're okay. Alright. Alright, love you too. Alright, bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, that's right. We are back in Today in Sports, and this is a huge day. Huge day. Not so much a huge day for moi, but we're going back in 1948. You know what happened on this day in 1948? I'm making a left turn. I'm making another left turn. NASCAR was founded in 1948. Really, why are you talking about NASCAR? Because it was the only thing I could find on today's date that significantly happened. Now, I'm not a NASCAR guy. I like M&M's. I use Tide detergent. But as NASCAR, the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing. Founded in 1948, 77 years ago. So happy birthday to them. We'll talk about a little bit of history. 1920s and 30s. I don't know, stock car, Mechanic William France Sr. moved to Florida, D.C. to escape the Great Depression. He, a few races before World War II. But yeah, founding logo. I like the logo. Very colorful. Very nice. But, you know, I think we all remember Dale Earnhardt's death in 2001. That was horrible. You know, the whole incident with him. Last lap, you know. I don't know too much about, like, who the NASCAR is or how they, like, what their wow. Like, what is their championship? I know it's like the something 400 or something. Let's see. The Cup Series, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. What is, like, their Super Bowl? What is their, like, you know, I should really have been more prepared to talk about NASCAR. But this is a guy who knows nothing about NASCAR. You know, like Daytona 500, right? That sounds like something I know. Daytona 500, you know, NASCAR teams. I've heard of Hendricks Motorsports. You know, I thought they were all like brands, like the M&M car or the Monster car or the Tide Pod car or the, you know, Doodle Wipes car. The NASCAR tracks. Now, they do have some of the biggest tracks in the world. You know, the Bristol Motor Speedway, 146,000 people. That's crazy. Daytona International Speedway, 101,000 people. Wow, what is this? The Indianapolis Okay, that one I do. The Brickyard 400. That one I know. Because what's the one where they drink the milk? You know, I'm gonna go to this. I'm gonna do. Okay, give me a quick NASCAR summary so I can talk about it on my show. Let's here's a quick, tight NASCAR rundown you can use on Brat Said That. 2026 Cup Series is off to a chaotic start. Super Speedway pack racing equals big wreck, big drama. The next gen card keeps the field tight. Daytona recap. Okay, so maybe we had the Daytona 500 already. The Daytona 500 kicked off this season with the usual late wreck, overtime finish, and somebody stealing it down the line. Chevy versus Ford versus Toyota. I know those names. Young stars making noise. Early drama. Quick talking point for the show. Is pack racing really racing or just roulette? I have no clue what that means. Are the veterans getting too conservative? It's a very conservative sport. Does NASCAR need to tweak the short track aero package again? Not a clue. Who's your early championship for lock? Well, who is the early championship for lock? Like, I don't know these names. I know, like, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Sr., the Bush brothers. Are there Kurt and Harry? I don't know. But Kyle Larson. Okay. William Bryan. Ryan Blaney. He's got a hell of a mustache. Denny Hamlin. I know that name. I know, like, Richard Petty. But, you know, we're not going to talk more about NASCAR because I don't really know it. Dale Earnhardt, though, like I said, he is the most famous. Number 3, the Intimidator. Now, here's the thing. I was on the Instagram, right? And I guess during, like, a race, the third lap, everybody puts their hands up like this in silence for the whole lap. I was like, that's silly. Why are they doing that? And then somebody commented, it's for Dale Earnhardt. And I was like, that's adorable. Dale forever. What is it? What's that Dale Earnhardt? Like, raise hell, praise Dale. Raise hell and praise Dale. So, yeah, Dale Earnhardt was kind of like the Hulk Hogan WrestleMania. NASCAR. Richard Petty, the king. Maybe like the Ric Flair of NASCAR. Jeff Gordon, 4-time champs, the 90s superstar. Austin. Tony Stewart, 3-time champs. Attitude, talent, drama. Maybe Triple H. Jimmy Johnson, 7-time champion. Basically the Patriots of NASCAR in 2000s. Kurt Angle. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Most popular driver for years. Massive fan base. Let's see. That would be, The Rock? Maybe? I don't know. But yeah. So, you know, that's NASCAR. I don't know too much about NASCAR. I drive like an old person, you know. Babe critiques my driving every single time we drive. But I always tell her, hey, I have precious cargo in the car. I can't be driving like a crazy man. But to end the show, you know, we're going to have a little early show, early end. Hey, I heard that, you know, we're going to talk about Kurt Cobain. Yes, we're going to talk about Kurt Cobain. People said that there is now forensics. Kurt Cobain's suicide was a murder. It was a homicide. I think we've all heard about that. Speculations, you know. If you don't know who Kurt Cobain is, I'll give you a little crash course. By the way, if you don't know who Kurt Cobain is, I also like to inform you that water is wet. And it gets hot in the summer. I'm not good at analogies. But on April 8th, 1994, Kurt Cobain, the lead singer and guitarist of American rock band Nirvana, was found dead at his home in Seattle, Washington. Forensic investigators and a coroner later determined that Cobain had died found with a 12-gauge, 20-gauge shotgun. Jeez, I didn't know they made those shotguns that big. Across the body and had suffered a visual gunshot wound to the head. A suicide note had been discovered nearby. Seattle police confirmed his death was a suicide. Now, for 32 years, that was the official statement. But just the other week, it sounded like it is now a homicide that they were talking about. Let's see. Following his death, conspiracy theories that Cobain was murdered was spread and reported to the FBI, partially due to an Unsolved Mysteries episode dedicated to Cobain's death. Now, I don't want to update this. I want to just look at 2026. What the heck happened? Now, there's a lot of, like, Danny Goldberg, founder of the Golden Mountain Rock Records, refers the crazy internet rumors that Cobain had not committed suicide but had been murdered, stating that Cobain's suicide haunts him every day. Let's see. Conspiracy theories. Let's go down the conspiracy theories. Let's see. Richard Lee. Was Kurt Cobain murdered? There was a book. Seattle Public Access host Richard Lee. First episode was a video was taped April 8th from a tree outside Cobain's garage, showing that scene around Cobain's body. Inside the mouth, unlike a shotgun blast to the head. Now, there's a lot. You can look it up. I don't want to go into it. People say Courtney Love had something to do with it. But I want to know why it's now getting talked about that he was... Why is it news that it was murdered? It's popular again because the internet recycles old conspiracy claims every few years. A viral clip, anniversary effect, engagement bait, no official change. I swear there was change. There was talks about him. Let's see. Why is Kurt Cobain now saying a homicide? Okay, so this is February 10th, just a couple weeks ago. His death shocked fans and sent ripples through the music world, but decades later, Kurt Cobain's final moments are under renewed scrutiny. Nirvana lead singer died. Yeah, we said that. Let's see. Now, an unofficial private sector team of forensic scientists have put fresh eyes on Cobain's autopsy and crime scene materials. Independent researcher who worked for the team told, "This is a homicide. We've got to do something about this." She concluded following a review of autopsy findings, which revealed signs of inconsistent with instantaneous gunshot death. There are things in the autopsy to go, well, wait, that person didn't die very quickly of a gunshot blast. Pointing to organ damage associated with oxygen deprivation. The necrosis of the brain and liver happens in an overdose. It doesn't happen in a shotgun death. Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. To me, it looks like somebody staged a movie and wanted you to absolutely certain that that was a suicide. The receipt for the gun is in his pocket. The receipt for the shells in his pocket. The shells are lined up at his feet. I'm looking at a autopsy of Kurt Cobain, of where he shot himself. A lot of drugs, heroin. I just found on Kurt Cobain's body at the time of death. Looked like a pack of cigarettes, a lighter, his wallet, some money, sunglasses, looks like a couple socks. Suicide letter, which is crazy. The alleged suicide note was scrutinized. The top of the note is written by Kurt. You can tell it's written by Kurt Cobain. There's nothing about suicide in that. It's basically just talking about quitting the band. But the bottom looks like it's written by somebody else. I've always thought that was fishy. But, you know, that's something else. There's been conspiracy theories all over for years about Kurt Cobain and the death. You know, nothing's going to bring him back, you know. So, yeah. So, if we get more information, we'll talk about that. But, you know, this is actually a really fun show. You know, nobody came in today. I'm probably going to just start recording these on, like, my phone. But it takes so long to upload. You know, Facebook Live is just instantaneous. But to end the show, you know, the theme is Doctor Who. If you're a big Doctor Who fan, for the next 8 minutes, I'll talk about Doctor Who. I got into Doctor Who around 2010. One of my coworkers in the deli was like, you should watch Doctor Who. And I did. And it was great, you know. If you don't know Doctor Who, he is this Time Lord. I don't know how to really... Doctor Who follows the adventures of a title character, a Time Lord, who goes by the name The Doctor, which is the Doctor, not Doctor. You spell it Doctor Who, D-O-C-T-O-R, not D-R. It's Doctor. Fled Gallifrey, the planet of the Time Lords, in his stolen TARDIS, which is time in relative dimensions in space. A time machine that travels by materializing into and demilitarizing out of it the time vortex. Nerd shit. TARDIS, it looks like this. A phone box, a police box, actually, I'm sorry. I guess they have these in the UK. You know, and it's cool because it started in 1963, which is crazy because the release date in 1963 was the first day, well, not the first day, was the day that JFK got shot, which is insane. I think the first episode was delayed because of the JFK assassination, which is crazy. But, you know, it follows a doctor, and there's been different doctors throughout the year. The first doctor, William Hartnell, he did 3 years, and then the doctor regenerates. You know, a new actor wants to move on, they do a regeneration. Back in the 60s, it was just really like, you know, simple screen effects. Patrick Thornton, second doctor. John Pertwee was the third doctor. But maybe the most famous one with the scarf, Tom Baker, he was the fourth doctor for 7 years. Everybody's favorite doctor is pretty much Tom Baker for the old school Doctor Who fans. Peter Davison, fifth doctor. He did it for 2 years. Colin Baker, sixth doctor. Sylvester McCoy, seventh doctor. And then they stopped. They had a break. They did it from 63 to 89. They came out with a made-for-TV movie in 96. Paul McCann did it. Then they came back for BBC. It was on Netflix. 2005. Christopher Eccleston, my personal favorite doctor. The ninth doctor. And then for the new kids that started following Doctor Who, like me, David Tennant, 10th Doctor, 5 years. Probably one of the best doctors. Matt Smith, he's in House of the Dragon. He did it from 2010 2013. That was my doctor when I first started. Peter Capaldi, he did it for 3 years. Jodie Whittaker, the 13th Doctor, first female doctor. David Tennant came back for the 14th Doctor. I haven't really followed Doctor Who much. I know Cutie Gatwa, I'm definitely butchering that name. He was the 15th Doctor. He did it from 2023 to 2025. And now I want to say that the Doctor now is Billie Piper, who was Rose, who is the Doctor Who. who is the actor. I think Billy Piper is who they're going to have be the... I mean, there's been, like, other doctors. Like, there was a war doctor that they had. Or, like, other things like that. But I like it. I like around Christmas time. They come out. Rose Taylor, Billy Piper. The war doctor was John Hurt. That was when I was really big into Doctor Who. But, yeah, you know, Doctor Who's fun. If you want to, you know, sit down and watch it. I know there's, like... It's kind of hard to watch because there's so much Doctor Who out there. But I love it. You know, I got this little bobblehead. It used to make noise, but it doesn't now. This thing's like 15 years old. I got a mug, Doctor Who mug with the TARDIS on it. The bookmark I showed you. Now this is right here, the Daleks. The Daleks are pretty much Doctor Who's rival. They are the Joker to the Batman of the Doctor Who. There's also Cyberman. That actually, you know, I like that. They're definitely a big villain of the Doctor. But I want to say what's his name? The Doctor villain is... What am I saying? Jeez, what am I doing here? The Doctor Who's 10 top villain is... What's his name? The Master. The Master. That's what I'm saying. I was saying Major. The Daleks, the Cybermen, the Major, Weeping Angels, which, if you want to watch, if you want to get into Doctor Who, watch Don't Blink. It has David Tennant as the 10th Doctor, Weeping Angels. Great episode. That is one that I remember watching, and I'm like, that one hooked me onto Doctor Who. But this Nerd Fest is over, guys. Doctor Who is, you know, I think it's coming back 2026. And, you know, it was a fun show. I kind of just talked to myself for an hour. I saw a couple people come popping in and out. But, yeah, guys, we're going to end the show. I got to get ready for work. So, let me get the song on. There we go. So, to recap the show, Elimination Chamber next week. We're going to do a watch along for the men's Elimination Chamber match. Vince McMahon and Janel Grant, they're still deciding that. Tonight, UFC Fight Night, Hernandez versus Strickland. Sean Strickland talked a lot. Can you back it up? Floyd Mayweather is coming back. Ryan Garcia is fighting tonight. Travis Kelce, is he going to come back as the Chiefs? We'll see. MLB Spring Training is here. We're going to talk about it. You know, White Sox dominated the win against the Cubs 8-1. Austin Hayes, massive homer. NBA second half is here. Olympics are heating up, or, you know, they're cooling down. I think they got just a couple more days. You know, all the gold medals are happening now. Team USA versus Canada in the team gold medal match. For the women's match, congrats to them. We talked about NASCAR. You know, NASCAR. It was NASCAR. They make left turns. No, I know it's very, very respectable. You know, I'll check it out. Maybe I'll watch a race. I don't have a favorite. I could pick a favorite. You know, if there was like a Coke Zero card. And Kurt Cobain, suicide murdered. And we're going to exterminate this episode. Guys, we'll be back on Wednesday. And then Wednesday, and then maybe Saturday, or we'll see. But, guys, next episode is episode 40. So, if you have not done so, please do so. Follow me on Twitter. John Cena and Scott Steiner are. Twitter, Brat Said That. X, over 1,000 followers. Instagram, Brat Jackson. I don't use it for this, but follow me. You know, get to know my life. YouTube, Brat Said That too. 25 subscribers. Let's try to get more subscribers and episodes. And bodyslam.net. I am going to write an article maybe tonight about AJ Styles. But, guys, I had a great time. I got to go to work. You know, things are turning around for me financially. And I got to buy Babe a couple of gifts. And she means the world to me. I got to buy the dogs gifts. You know, if you can, get out of your toxic job. Find a job that appreciates you. And I appreciate you. I love you guys. Enjoy. I will see you guys after this weekend. Have a great night. All right. And remember, love yourself. Love each other. And love sports. And for the doctor, he's got 2 hearts. So he'll love you twice. All right, guys. Bye.